Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and genticles, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. I dare Jay to do something carefully and neatly for a change.
Oh, yeah? Well, I dare John to listen up and stop obsessing over every little last detail for a change.
Man, we screwed that up. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we're talking about My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, Season 1, Episodes 7 and 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 7 here is Dragonshy, was released November 26, 2010, directed by Jason Thiessen and James Wooten as co-director, written by Megan McCarthy, who had previously written for Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and would go on to write for Centaur World. And yeah, everything else is the same as what we've been talking about. We do have a song by Daniel Ingram showing up here.
A pinky jingle, yeah. Megan McCarthy, I believe, is part of like the continuity department for this show,
Okay.
at least for the first few seasons. Just like a quick look on IMDb, I think she's also, you were saying, a producer as well. So
Yeah, she clearly has a lot of credits with other My Little Pony projects. So someone who's very involved in that side of things.
a very prominent name in the fandom, of course. They admire her
Yep.
work. Anyway, so yeah, Dragonshy is the episode for today, and the other one is coming later. So the story of this episode is a dragon takes up residence in a nearby mountain and falls asleep, and the smoke he produces could darken the skies of Equestria for 1,000 years and cause smoke inhalation. So Princess Celestia sends the main six out to get him to move, and Fluttershy is reluctant to go along, eventually revealing that she's deeply terrified of adult dragons. And after some misadventures, they arrive at the dragon's cave, and one by one they try to get the dragon to move out. Yeah, to move out. In their own different ways. And Rainbow Dash kicks the dragon, and the dragon uses his breath to stun the other ponies. And Fluttershy is the only one left, and seeing her friends in danger finally gives her the courage to stand up to the dragon, making him cry. And she tells him to leave Equestria, essentially deporting him. So
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. I like this pair of episodes more than some of the previous episodes. We're going on, this is another adventure episode here. Yeah, we're seeing new settings, higher stakes as well. I guess the Ursa bear thing from the last episode was also higher stakes, but this felt a little bit more in line with the first couple episodes.
yeah, the smoke inhalation is gonna be a problem, especially if the dragon's taking a nap for like 100 years. It's like, oh yeah, that's probably too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you're saying, here we get to go on an adventure and get to see new settings, which is much more typical of these adventure episodes. Um, which I think this is more of what Faust wanted to use in her show,
Okay.
but had to reduce because the main point is to sell pony toys and friendship, and so they couldn't do adventure all the time. But once in a blue moon, here we have an episode like this, where the
Yeah.
ponies are commanded by Celestia to go deal with something like this, which I don't know. I think Celestia should have a special squad other than some civilians and her trusted student.
Hey, I mean they figured it out, so
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there could have been much more of a plan than just send Twilight along. Unless she's once again setting up lessons for Twilight to learn, I guess.
yeah. I also, what I like about this episode is it gives a chance for all of the ponies to interact and also
Yes.
like display their characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like a bigger scope episode in a lot of ways than some of the stuff we've been getting previously. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Fluttershy very much takes center stage here. She's the focal character. We're getting a little bit more insight. Um,
she's shy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things that occurred to me, especially just the way this episode opens, feels very Disney princess coded, where she's talking with all the animals and waking up, and then she has her magical adventure. Obviously, like very different from most of the Disney princesses, because usually the Disney princesses are a little bit more assertive. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Fluttershy takes a minute for her to get her assertiveness. So
yeah.
she's like the final straw, I guess.
No, did
Um
did you add this parentheses here, or was this a typo from me?
no. I put this
Okay,
parentheses in here.
okay.
No, the opening is her feeding the animals, but she feeds a couple of ferrets fish, which implies that Fluttershy had to catch and kill those fish for the ferrets.
Yeah.
So, um, for a
Maybe she got
character
them from a market.
for a character like Fluttershy, that's got to be really sad. It's like, oh, poor fish. I have to give you to others for sustenance. What fish market is there for horses?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, it's just like a random thing that's like, oh, don't think about it. We also
Yeah.
get to see more of Angel Bunny, and let me tell you, people do not like Angel Bunny because Angel
Okay.
Bunny is not an angel.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I don't have a strong reaction to this character.
No, give it some time.
Okay. Okay.
um, but yeah, no, Angel not wanting to eat the carrot and being
Yep.
like a toddler. I guess that Fluttershy has to force feed somehow, or not even force feed, just try to negotiate, but not doing really well.
Yeah. Which I think ra- carrots are actually bad for rabbits, or at least they aren't supposed to have a
Oh,
lot of carrots.
well then,
Yeah,
Fluttershy.
they're like too high in sugar or something.
Mm, man, reality breaks cartoon
Yeah,
fantasy.
it's basically entirely the Bugs Bunny thing that got that myth started.
I see. Well, that's not good.
Yeah,
No
I
wonder
don't think
my
it's not
no
deadly
wonder my
for
rabbits
bunnies, but
died. um,
did you have rabbits growing up?
I had a lot of animals growing up. At one
Okay.
point, because my mother loved animals and we kept like taking care of animals, we had 40 animals at one point.
Oh,
Because
that's a lot.
we had two dogs give birth to a bunch of puppies at the same
Oh.
time. So we had like a very busy household of like dogs, cats, a bunny or two, birds, maybe some other stuff, a guinea pig. But yeah, no, that was that was the time. I miss those days. Yeah,
My family never had any pets besides fish.
fish. We did have fish too. Yeah.
Okay.
Did we
Yeah.
also have a turtle? Man,
This was before I knew you, but our neighbors used to have rabbits, and that was interesting. They kept them in the yard, so they were outdoor rabbits.
yeah, we
But
had a
yeah, anyway.
bigger house and room to hold all these animals. Plus, like, it was just like all rescues, I guess.
Yeah.
Or a friend was like, "Hey, we're leaving. Watch these animals for a bit." And so we just watch. There was this one family that had like a lot of animals, and they also had a toucan once. It
Oh.
was we got to watch the toucan, and that was pretty fun.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This episode,
Yeah.
yeah, Fluttershy.
We
Uh,
we get to see all of the different how the different ponies react to various different things, how they each get ready for this adventure, and then how they're each trying to persuade the dragon away.
yeah,
All very in keeping with their character. It's um, Applejack brings a bunch of apples along, and
yep. She brings apples. Rarity wants to like persuade and seduce the dragon to steal the items into
Yep.
gems for fashion sense. Raymond just kicks the dragon.
Yeah.
She kicks it and calls it a good day, which
Yeah, I like
that's fun.
yeah, I think it's a good use of all of these different characters, and like along the way we're also getting their different interactions and their different reactions to Fluttershy. Um yeah, it's just like a well constructed episode.
Yeah, Fluttershy not wanting to go. It's like, ah, I can't climb. It's like, ah, avalanche. Like, ah, I can't jump. Which, yeah, the jumping thing makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you're up high in a mountain. No matter how small that little crevice you have to jump over is, like, it's still very perilous in its own
Though
sense.
she has wings.
Yeah, she has wings, but like, this is Fluttershy, man.
Yep.
She gotta
I know. Yep.
she gotta remember. Hey, we're gonna find out more about Fluttershy's fears later down the
Okay.
line. If it's not as
I
obvious
assume
here.
they're somewhat numerous.
Yep, yep. She's afraid of everything. Yeah, the dragon. We got to see a dragon. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that yeah. I like the dragon design here, and like just the way
Mm,
it's set up reminded me of that iconic cover of The Hobbit, the book
yeah,
where it's like an illustrated dragon sitting on the pile of gold. Um
yeah.
I think
Classic
yeah.
fantasy. Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah, of course the Hobbit didn't invent the dragon sitting on a pile of gold, but
It surely helped.
yep.
I know that I think there are other episode types like this where there's like a dragon in a cave that's disturbing the people, and they have to send our main protagonists on it. I think there's like a Samurai Jack episode, or maybe Adventure Time,
Okay.
that does stuff like that. So it is a somewhat common premise, but
Yeah.
usually not. Usually more reserved for like fantasy settings. But yeah, it's a fun one where you just have our characters go on an adventure, climbing the mountain, overcoming perils. Half the perils are just Fluttershy herself. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it is just like again this is more in line with what I was expecting of the show after the first two episodes. Um
hmm,
which yeah, we'll see. I have a theory on certain things here.
okay. Yeah, theories are nice.
Yeah, were there any things you wanted to highlight in the visual department here?
I mean, visual departments. I do like the journey this episode of climbing up the mountain. It's always fun to see a new area of Equestria, and
Yeah.
so this is one of those fun times. Um, unfortunately, like the many a bridge series have like changed my perception of this episode because there'll be so many moments where the random lines of dialogues will pop in my head, and I'm like, oh well, that moment's kind of different to me now. Now it's not as funny. um,
I
but
have that problem with there was a video that came out on YouTube which I watched quite a bit around the release of the Revenge of the Sith. That was like
oh,
someone singing original lyrics about Star Wars to John Williams music. So now whenever I hear one of the big John Williams themes, I'm hearing the lyrics from that thing that I haven't seen in many many years but watched a lot as a kid.
was it the a cappella guy who was talking about John
I don't
Williams
know.
as the man? Because I know
Yeah, yeah,
there's that one that I like
yeah.
watching all the time. But yeah,
It's
yeah.
like yeah, I go and see E.T. and it's like oh that's in the back of my head, kind of ruining
You
what is
must use the force.
some of the best.
Yep, yep, yep. Stuff like that happens. It's
Yep.
fun, but it's also like, oh man, I can't. I just want to appreciate it just the way it is. But to be fair, my first introductions to all of this was through the abridged content
Yeah. Well,
before I
that
actually
was my
watched the
first
show.
introduction to a lot of the John Williams stuff was that video because I
Yeah.
hadn't seen E.T. or Jurassic Park or any of those things. But yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely understand the like the stuff building off of the thing kind of getting in the way. Um,
That's the Brony fandom in general. Like, there's so much stuff that really makes the show experience more than probably the show itself actually is. So
okay.
you're getting a different experience because you're not rewatching episodes each week. You're not
Yeah.
going to discussion boards or looking for artwork and fan stuff. So you're getting just the raw deal. I don't know
Yep.
if that's the right term, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, onto some quote unquote animation errors for this week. First image, we have our group of characters on. They're about to jump off a cliff, but there's something slightly off here.
Is there something up with Rainbow Dash?
Yeah, what do you see about Rainbow Dash?
I don't know. I mean, it's an awkward pose. Is part of her hair uncolored or something?
No, 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 nothing like that. There's something that's different than normally is. Take a look
Okay,
at
I
that
might not know
big.
the difference.
All right, so her cutie mark. I don't know if you
Okay.
notice. Yeah, so this is actually her prototype cutie mark. Um,
Okay.
when they were developing, her new cutie mark is a little smaller and has like a cloud on the top of that rainbow lightning bolt.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is just an instance where that old design just suddenly popped in for that 1/2 second. So yeah, fun stuff. And then the next two, I think, are just examples of the same issue. Um, that happens with some inconsistencies. And it's that for this whole episode, the characters are carrying saddlebags with their
Okay. Yeah.
stuff. And for a lot of times, like, those saddlebags will just disappear in and out.
Yeah. I
So,
honestly didn't notice while watching.
yeah, neither do I. It's just something that I discovered while doing the research for this. Uh, I think maybe even the second image here might also have to do with characters being out of order with different angles of this shot. I don't know,
Okay.
but that's just a theory, a game theory. There might be more stuff that I'm missing, but it doesn't matter. That you get the gist of it.
Yeah. I do wonder cuz there's stuff like Steven Spielberg will use discontinuity very intentionally in his things where I mean the iconic one is the T-Rex cage at Jurassic Park where it's like level with the road in one shot and then in the next shot it's a giant cliff falling down. Um
Yeah, I
which
mean, you could
he's
argue that they're just like slightly to the left of where that
yeah.
was.
But the
But yeah,
idea is that when you are sitting down and watching it in the theater it actually doesn't matter or just sitting down and watching it at home. It's only when you take it frame by frame and start to actually think about it that it jumps out as an error.
or something's not quite right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, stuff like that happens. Although here it's probably not so much the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just
I just mean in that it doesn't actually affect the viewing experience.
no, 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 not at all. It's just like a fun little thing to point out at the end of the day. It's like, oh, look at that. That didn't quite work, but that's fun. At least that's how I approach it. Okay, so I guess we got to see an adult dragon. Any like
Yeah.
thoughts on that compared to Spike?
I mean, it's a pretty standard dragon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about the dragon life cycle, but yeah, does it really affect anything at this point?
Dragon life cycle. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't imagine that Spike is going to be becoming a dragon in that sense in
Dragon
this
lore
show.
is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not gonna get anything concrete. Which you don't really care for concrete things. You just care for if
Yeah.
it's interesting or not.
Yep. I care less about continuity and more about other stuff, which is maybe why I'm not bothered by some of the continuity errors in animation.
Wow, that's fine. On to voice cast. A lot of it's the same. Only new voice here is Blue Mancuna for the Red Dragon.
Yeah, was he in one of the Barbie movies or something?
I think so. I think
I'm
he's usually like when you need like a deep ish
did,
voice, then
did he
you
do
get
the
Blue.
Bibble voice for like when Bibble was eating the berries?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
what it
yeah.
is.
Oh, I should have clipped that for the to play right now. Yeah, deep
Yeah,
Bibble voice.
deep Vibble. Yeah.
That. How much further to the bed, eh?
Lefting, leftaroo. Yep.
Oh, that was an interesting one. Yeah, we have a song here. What do you call them?
Pinky jingle, hop, skip,
Pinky.
and a jump.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I
Yep.
I am
It's
still not inspired to adore these things, but whatever.
yep. Yep. It's one of those things where the fandom would just use it as like a jumping point for. It's like, oh, let me just use this for like a background, and then I'll just like do techno music on top of it and make it sound more epic and such. I like Pinky Jingles in retrospect. They're fun.
Okay.
Like they're just like, oh yeah, just a simple thing. I like this one in particular because here, we're teaching Fluttershy to like hop, skip, and jump to be a little more
Yeah.
assertive, and maybe we see it back again. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, I'll have to
That,
see if I remember it by that point. Yeah, I feel like I may be a little bit spoiled because what I think of animated kids shows doing songs, it's stuff more like Veggie Tales or Phineas and Ferb, where we're getting like different genres, different styles that sort of are commenting when the episode with like yeah. So
right.
these songs all
Yep.
being kind of the same thing are I just don't have any new thoughts on this versus the other Pinky jingles we have heard thus far.
Yeah, it's just like the subject matter. Where here it's like, she's hop, skipping, a jump, and the other ones were like, Twilight's my best friend, or I want to go to the gala. So it's really the content
Yeah,
itself that's different versus the actual musical style. But for like a quick 10-20 second song, hey, there you go.
yeah.
It's it's fun. Still haven't quite gotten to a song proper unless you count the first song, but anyway. On to illusions via the Pony Wiki. Uh, as the main six are getting ready to confront the dragon, a sound-alike version of the theme from the classic 1980s action series, the A Team, plays. This is their montage moment of preparing, where
Yeah.
Applejack gets apples and Rarity gets like a camo hat thing. So yeah. When Rarity is flattering the dragon and its hoard of jewels, the praise she uses is similar to that used famously by Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit to buy time when faced by the dragon Smaug. The dragon himself bears a striking resemblance to Smaug, or I mean, it's a red dragon. So you were saying that it's a common image, but yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
similar
the
in a
cover
sense.
the cover image of The Hobbit in
Yeah,
certain printings.
they were climbing a lonely mountain, so
Oh, yep.
um, a singular, very tall and steep mountain. Uh, Pinkie Pie's costume is similar to Daffy Duck's body in a scene from Looney Tunes cartoon Duck Amuck. I think it's when she goes into the cave and she's like dressed as a present, so I wouldn't know. When the dragon kicks Remodash out and she flies out, rolling like a ball and strikes the other ponies down, they fall apart without changing their standing positions like bowling pins, and the strike has the same sound. um, yeah, that's
Yep,
that's the humor of that scene.
yep,
Yep.
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. IMDb trivia. Whenever Fluttershy faints from fear, the sound effect of a goat's bleat can be heard. This is a reference
Yeah.
to the meotonic goats, also known as fainting goats, whose muscles would freeze when they panic. This reflex causes them to collapse on their side. Yes. Yep, that's fun. Okay. Big fandom moment. So here we have an image of Lyra Heartstring sitting normally on a bench, whereas the other pony's just sitting like a horse. Lyra's kind of sitting like a normal person. And this caused like a huge thing where it's like, Lyra, she must be obsessed with humans. And so her fandom character is that she's an anthropologist obsessed with humans
Okay.
and the stuff like that. There's like fan fiction and a song about that, and that's part of her meta joke. And yeah,
Oh.
that's all comes from this like half frame of an image of her sitting there staring at the camera. So yep.
Yeah. No, knowing what I know about the ponies fandom, that makes sense that that would trigger that kind of response.
Yes. Friendship lesson. Never lose faith in your friends. They can be an amazing source of strength and can also help you overcome your greatest fears. Also, Rainbow Dash was trying to get the record for like bouncing a ball on your head. And she failed
Yeah.
twice because of Pinky, I guess. Poor her. And then lastly, Derpy Hoops appears in the background in a couple shots. Here she's seen helping disperse the cloud, the smoke from the sky with the other Pegasi.
Yep.
Anything else for this episode?
Don't think so.
All right. Well, before we move on to the next episode, we wanted to take a moment to tell you about where you can find us. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. There you will find reactions to these episodes by yours truly.
So yeah, on now to episode 8, Look Before You Sleep. This was released December 3rd, 2010, directed by Jason Thiessen and James Wooten once again. Written by Charlotte Fullerton, who we've actually talked about before. She wrote for a bunch of the Ben 10 shows, Minecraft Story Mode, and of course Barbie and Chelsea The Lost Birthday.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that tidbit, or maybe I chose not to mention it when we did that episode, or just
I
didn't
mean,
realize it was the same one. I don't know.
I feel like I would have written that in the notes when we did that. But yeah, who knows? That was a long time ago. We probably talked about that briefly. But yeah, same production staff beyond that for this episode.
Yeah. A story for this episode. The night of a big storm, Rarity and Applejack end up having to shelter overnight with Twilight Sparkle. And Twilight is excited to have her first ever slumber party, but the fun activities she has planned keep getting ruined by the rivalry between Rarity and Applejack. Rarity is frustrated by Applejack's messiness and lack of attention to detail, while Applejack resents Rarity's fussiness and prissiness. And lightning strikes a nearby tree, and while trying to keep it from falling, Applejack accidentally crashes it into Twilight's room. And Applejack admits that she should have been more careful, like Rarity told her to be. And Rarity helps cleans up, even though she gets dirty while doing it. And the two reconcile their differences until the next time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another. This is more in line with the previous episodes, but for some reason I enjoyed this one more than I had been enjoying some of the other
Okay.
recent stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just in a different headspace or something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
oh, go
each
ahead.
episode is, of course, written by a different writer, so it could be that these couple writers for this week has been more in your line than the others. I don't know.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I mean, part of it is just that I like a good storm, and
Ah,
like I enjoy rain and that kind of stuff. So that was fun to see that in Ponyville, which tends to be such a like sunny place. Um,
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting that they actually have the weather get scheduled out.
Yeah, that's the job of the Pegasi to handle the weather. So everything about Equestria is like done by ponies. Like the
Yeah.
sun and moon are raised by the princesses, so they
Yeah.
don't rise naturally, and so the weather here is controlled by the Pegasi weather ponies. Um, we briefly learned more about this when they were going into the Everfree Forest, where they're like, the weather happens normally in the forest. That's not natural. Um, so,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a fun little tidbit of this world that I enjoy.
Yeah. And I think it's just nice as well to get a focus on a conflict that's between two of the main six rather than like an outside force coming in and being the source of conflict. This is Applejack and Rarity are at each other's throats. Yeah, it feels like we're digging a little bit deeper into these two characters who thus far haven't been focused on all that much. We haven't
Sure.
gotten much from, I guess Applejack had her episode a little earlier, but yeah, this
Rarity
is the
hasn't
most
really
we've
had
seen of
her
Rarity.
chance to shine just yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is also, I think, the start. I mentioned last week in our G1 episode about the Brony race war. Um, this joking thing, but I think part of that is introduced here with the feudalism. That's what I wrote down here. Because here we have Rarity and Applejack do very different things. And I think because of that argument, that kind of leads into like, oh, hey, yeah, pony feudalism. I guess there is a system involved.
Yeah, I'm still a little unclear on to how their society is structured, which I don't
Hmm.
need to be. I don't think that's a necessary thing to. But yeah, there is a question of like how does stuff happen?
Yeah, I mean, as we could see, the weather is done by the
Yeah,
Pegasi. The farming seems to be done by the Earth ponies, and then the unicorns, they do
do everything
whatever they
else.
want, do with their supremacy, I guess. um, so the sun and moon is raised by the Alicorn princesses, so the unicorns are just they show off for their magic, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. On to the characters more specifically. Applejack is like very much a doer, but she doesn't always think before she does.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Especially that's what this episode specifically is focusing on, which is in keeping with what we've seen from her character thus far. We've seen how she acted when she had to harvest all of the apples by herself and refusing to ask for help. Here she is actually asking for help, but there's still that sense of pride, which
Yeah,
Rarity
she's
is.
Rarity is the more prideful in this one.
I
Uh,
they're both very proud.
oh yeah, but as we were saying, Applejack was asking for help, and Rarity, through her own sense of self worth and pride, was like, "Nah, I'm too
Yeah,
good for this.
but yeah,
Like,
we'll
I
get
look
into
beautiful. I don't want to
it.
get dirty."
Yeah, I think these two characters, we'll get into it, but I think these two characters are a lot more similar than either of them would admit. Um, but yeah, Rarity is very like thoughtful in her actions, or not, maybe not thoughtful, but she takes a lot of, or yeah, she is thinking about things in a way
The
that
smaller
Applejack isn't.
details of
Yeah,
things is like, I'm gonna make this branch look pretty, and Applejack is just, "Hey, I'm gonna take down this branch because it's a hazard."
yeah, which there is a bit of like, yeah, Applejack is trying to do something important and Rarity is kind of rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Like it doesn't
She
matter if the
would,
branches are. Yeah,
she
no, yeah,
would, yeah, because she
that's
was
very much the vibe.
dealing with the books instead of the tree.
Yeah. He's like, oh, a big crisis. Oh, I gotta fix the small things that this crisis has caused. Whereas Applejack is like, I need to fix the crisis, but is it necessarily? Which, yeah, that is like, it's a good contrast of characters. But I think that both of these characters are confident in themselves but to the point where they can become very proud.
Mm-hmm.
They're both driven by this pride in the sense of like, what I am doing is the correct way of doing things, and what everyone else is doing is the incorrect way of doing things. Um, which yeah, it gives them that sort of confidence that defines who they are and makes them interesting and valuable parts of this community. But that it is also like they come into conflict because they have such very different ways of going about things. This is sort of an
Yeah,
unstoppable force, immovable object type situation where it's like, yeah, both of these characters are a bit immovable in their ways, um, and so they're clashing with each other. Yeah,
it's a
they don't like
classic
being told
character
what to do.
dynamic that it's really easy to have like fun conflicts with this type of thing.
Yeah, and yeah, the conflict between them does feel realistic in a sort of exaggerated way.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, they're at odds with each other. Um, but yeah, they do. I like that they do eventually reconcile, but there's still a little bit of conflict there. It's now a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more friendly, but they do. This isn't like a complete. They haven't.
You know, when the next event happens, they're going to be bickering and arguing
Yeah,
about
yeah,
what some other small thing.
yeah. And hopefully they'll be able to get over it a little bit quicker than this time. But yeah, there is still they are still very different people, and so they're never going to see eye to eye on everything.
Yeah, yeah. And there are many episodes of these two being at odds with each other's in the show, and they're usually fun in some sense. Um, this episode, I think, was the big fuel in the Rarajack ship. There's
Makes sense.
each of the main six have like been shipped with each other. And I think this one is like where they point to where it's like, oh yeah, these two, because they argue all the time, and there's many episodes with these two arguing. It's like, oh yeah, that's a ship that makes sense. Um, yeah, I mentioned in previous episodes that at first I didn't really care so much about Rarity. I think this was one of those episodes
Okay.
because there are multiple episodes of the Applejack versus Rarity conflict. I've usually always taken Applejack's side because I found Rarity's uh excessiveness a little frustrating and annoying, especially when stuff needs to be done and Rarity's just messing around making it look pretty. It's like, oh come on, stop it. Just do the damn job, Rarity.
Yeah.
But
Which
y-
yeah, I
yeah,
think that is like that part of it. But then when it's like Applejack is trying to go inside with like completely covered in mud, it's like it's a library, Applejack. You gotta wash your
it's
feet off.
raining. That's what a doormat is for. You gotta like scrub your feet.
Yes. Yeah, it's odd that there isn't like, I guess they don't have showers, indoor showers here. But yeah,
Um,
I am someone who, if I am not paying attention and just like going just in the kitchen doing my thing and I'm not thinking about it, I will wash my hands between every egg that I crack because
Me
I'm like, oh,
too.
I don't like dirty hands. So I
I don't
crack
want to
one egg.
cross contaminate stuff.
But it's like when I'm cracking three eggs, I don't need to be washing my hands. But that's the rarity thing of like, oh, everything needs to be neat and orderly now.
Hmm. Yes, yes. Of course, now I don't mind. I don't really care. I still find her character really fun, but there's
Yeah.
that small side where it's like, oh yeah, I remember why I didn't like her at first because I was Applejack. Um, there's a third character in this.
Yeah, Twilight Sparkle. She gets caught in the middle of this. She just wants to have a good slumber party. Um,
Hmm.
I am a little bit surprised that she didn't have her own little mini lesson in this episode because her big thing is that she is obsessed with this book that is going to teach her how to have a good slumber party. And so each of the events that she is suggesting is like checking something off this list, which, yeah, I mean, that makes sense with her character, but it also seems like that should be a teaching moment for her of like, oh, we don't need to go by the book, we can just have fun in our own way. But obviously that's not at all what this episode is focused on.
Or maybe that's going to be a character flaw that we're going to see, and they're going to deal with it in a future episode.
Or maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
I mean, that seems to
Uh,
be like a thing that they could come back to a few times throughout the show. But maybe they address it once and that's it.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. We'll see. I don't... At the top of my head, I can't give you answers, but sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know we talked about that. Twilight's house is a treehouse. It's a treehouse
Yes.
library. What do you think about the Golden Oak Library?
It's weird that someone lives in a library.
Yeah.
Like that's her house. Like, are other people coming in and borrowing books?
It is a public library. We just don't see them.
Yeah. It seems it like the function it serves in the community doesn't really vibe with how we are seeing the space used, because it seems more like Twilight's house where she keeps all of her books rather than, oh, this is a public library which people are going into and out of and borrowing books from.
Yeah. Do you recognize the library by any chance?
Oh yeah, it's one of the things you built in the Minecraft server that we had.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yes, I recognized that as soon as it showed up on screen. I was like, ah, yes, I remember John talking about this and building it.
Yes, you just didn't mention it at the time, so I didn't know
Yes,
what
I
to
did
share.
make that connection. I didn't think to mention it when we were, because yeah, it hasn't really been that much of a focus of any of the episodes we've seen thus
Oh,
far.
no. Yeah. It's just a really fun. I like the setting. It's really fun. There's like a
Yeah,
lot of personality to it that we don't really get a lot of focus on. Like there's a
yeah,
beehive on the outside. A live beehive. That's a hazard, but the
yeah,
bees are just living there.
yep,
Yep. Yep. It's fun. Yeah, on to some animation errors for this week. First image, we have Applejack. She's about to get the mud bath on her face. Notice anything a little odd here?
yeah. She has double ears and double hair.
Yeah, there's a double frame here of whatever's going on. Second image, we see Applejack jumping on the bed and Rarity falling off. Um, Similar topic to the other one. You might not notice it at first. Do you see what's going on here?
I mean, the blanket looks a little odd, but I don't. Oh, are there are there two tails? Does Applejack have two tails?
Not quite. Look at Rarity.
Oh, she
She's
has
some.
too many legs.
Yep, she has a third leg, a third back leg, which I think is supposed to be a smear frame of her leg movement, but it just here looks like she's got three legs.
Yeah.
Yep, fun. Last one is a very brief one at the beginning of the episode where we see a shot of like these ponies. The unicorns are like lifting a bunch of like branches and moving it, and here in the background of one shot, you have this earth pony who magically lifts this branch without any magic horn.
Yep, yep. Makes sense.
Yeah. On to performances. It's only a 3-star cast of
Yeah.
Tara Strong, Ashley Ball, and Tabitha St. Germain. Hey, that's pretty good. Saves money.
Yep. Is that the um that I noticed that especially with Agatha All Along recently, where it's like, oh, Aubrey Plaza is in like 3 episodes of this, and they're very careful to, if she is in an episode, she is in the episode. And if there is any way to make her not be in the episode, she is not in the episode.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Man, I hate that.
Or oh,
I hated that when TV shows where they have had to find ways to not have important, powerful characters to be on screen. Yeah.
another one, because Olivia Colman is in the Heartstopper Netflix show, which is like really cool that she's in it, but she didn't. They didn't either didn't want to pay for her, or she didn't have it in her schedule for the 3rd season. So they're constantly referring to her, but she never shows up. There's even like she has a Christmas party at her house, and it's just like, oh, she's in the other room. She isn't in this room. She's in the other room right now.
Oh
It's just
man.
very obvious. Like, they got like, I think it's Haley Atwell to like fill in that role within the like purpose of the show. So it's like there's still a good performer doing that kind of stuff. But it is very conspicuous that it's like, oh yeah, my mom, she just got home. Listen, that's her opening the door downstairs. Oh,
Yep.
she's in the next room.
That's how they explain Spike being missing from this episode. He's in Camelot doing important business. What
Uh,
business? I don't know. But poor
uh,
Spike, just a baby dragon all alone in Camelot.
this has nothing to do with anything, but that was a big point of contention with David Lynch and the TV series Twin Peaks: The Return, which he filmed and edited as if it were like he broke it into episodes, but he wasn't like considering that kind of thing for TV. So there will be like, Laura Dern will show up for 2 scenes in an episode, and the network was like, we have to pay her for those 2 scenes. Can't those 2 scenes go somewhere else? It's like, no, this is how it is. So if you're
Mm.
looking for a kind of show where that isn't a consideration, that can be a fun one to watch. It's like, oh yeah, they're gonna have one episode or one scene of this big actor in this one episode because it makes sense with the episode rather than because the network didn't want to pay the actor, so they moved that scene to a different episode.
Yeah, it's fun when they have like these smaller cast episodes because it means they get more time to like
Yeah,
have interactions between Applejack and Rarity. That's where their bickering comes in and makes it a lot more fun than just having to make sure the others get a line or two. So, yeah.
bit of a bottle episode.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but yeah. On to illusions via the Pony Wiki. So, the title of Twilight Sparkle's book, Slumber 101 All You've Ever Wanted to Know About Slumber Parties But Were Afraid to Ask, is a namesake of a popular book, Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask, and the comedy movie that was inspired by it. Okay.
Weirdly, one of the only Woody Allen not to bring up a cursed person movies that I've seen.
Mm.
I don't
Uh,
remember it being particularly interesting.
sure. The phrase that Twilight opens her ghost story with, "It was a dark and stormy night," is the opening phrase in Edward Ball Lytton's novel Paul Clifford. The line has become a signifier of purple prose. What is that?
That's like overly descriptive, or like prose that is trying to make you think it is more. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's pretentious essentially.
Okay. Twilight mentions the ghost story of the Headless Horse, a play in the Headless Horseman of European and American folklore. Uh, have you seen that film or story?
I mean, I've seen the Sleepy Hollow, the Tim Burton one.
Yeah, there was an animated film about the Headless Horseman.
There's
Um,
the Ichabod one, the Disney short. Is that the one you're thinking of?
I don't remember. It was a long
Okay.
time ago. The
There's
episode
multiple
title,
adaptations. I've actually read
it's
the Sleepy Hollow short story,
mm,
but I haven't seen the Disney version, if that's the one you're thinking of.
I don't know. The episode title itself is a pun of the phrase "look before you leap," meaning consider the consequences before acting. Where, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, this is IMDb trivia, and Spike are nowhere to be seen, ergo making it the first episode where one or few main characters are absent. Friendship lesson. It's hard to believe that two ponies that seem to have so little in common could ever get along, but I found, yeah, okay. That's taken verbatim. That's a quote from the episode. Okay. And then lastly, Derpy Hoops appears at the beginning of the episode. Here she's seen helping taking the branches off of stuff. Also, there's Bon Bon in the background. Have you been keeping up with the pony cheat sheet, or have you been ignoring it?
I can't say that I have been too invested in it.
Bah.
I'll look through it again at some point.
All right.
None of these ponies are characters at this point in the show.
I mean, I mean, they're all background characters.
Yeah.
So all of their stuff happens in fandom work, pretty much.
Okay.
So it's just the fans gave them personality and names, and I'm just telling you what that is
Okay.
sometimes. So
Well, yeah, I'll look it over. But yeah, I can't promise I will retain any of that information.
yep.
Well, yeah,
All right.
but before we finish up, I remembered actually this time to do a bit of a cultural anthropology corner. Yeah, I feel like especially the seventh episode here feels like a bit closer to the first two episodes in a way that I think that might be part of why this is um this caught on to an extent. I think this is a bit of like a trial by fire where like episode 1 and 2 get people into the show, but then 3 through 6 ish, um, they're a little bit more what you would expect if you are coming in with no understanding of what My Little Pony is. Um, so if you make it through those episodes to episode 7, then you've already shown a certain resilience to everything that the show is doing. So then episode 7 comes around and rewards that perseverance with something that's a little bit closer to what the first two episodes did. So it's like if you made it to this point, you're probably significantly more likely to stick with the show through everything else that happens.
Yeah, I think I've heard similar things about that in the past.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Which this could be both a good thing and a bad thing. I think of I got through like 3 seasons of Glee, and the reason was because the Gwyneth Paltrow episodes of Glee are always really, really good. And they sprinkle them enough that every time I was like, oh, I should just give up on the show. I'll do one more episode. And then the next episode would just happen to be a Gwyneth Paltrow episode. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was good. I'll watch another few episodes. Watch a few more episodes. Oh, I don't know if I really want to go on. Then, oh, the next one's a Gwyneth Paltrow episode. Okay, I'll do that. Finally, I got to a certain Gwyneth Paltrow episode. And I'm like, I'm just gonna stop here because this is just gonna be how it goes for the rest of it. But I could imagine a world in which I just continued to watch Glee for the episodes that I felt were good, even though they were not every episode.
yeah. Yep. I don't know, and I don't think this is the intention of like the writers of the show to do it
Oh
like
no,
this,
no.
but it's just how it ended up.
Yeah.
Um, incidentally enough, um, we have not yet seen our B cast for the show
Okay.
just yet, and it takes a while before they show up, and so that's just thinking about looking about where they show up. It's like, man, they kind of show up like a little late when you think about it. It's like, ah. I guess these first half is like they get you introduced to our main characters and then they
Yeah.
show up our side characters later on. But we'll talk more about them when we get to them. Um, yeah, episode 7 is also at the point of the different Pony Bridge series because there's a lot of Pony Bridge series. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know that. There's a lot, but once they get to this episode is where they really start to find their footing. So this is kind of like a proof episode of like whether or not they're a worthy enough a bridge series to continue watching or not. So
Okay. Yeah, I
that's
think that
just
does make sense because it's a very whole cast focused episode in a way that it's far enough in where you've already done a few episodes, whereas like the first 2 episodes are also focused on the whole cast, but or the first 3 episodes even, but you maybe haven't got to your stride, whereas like by the time you get to episode 7, okay, you've defined most of these characters pretty well within your own abridged framework. So now it's like this is you're either showing your skills here or you're floundering a little bit.
Yeah, which makes this episode pretty fun to watch for most of Brit shows.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have Friendship with Witchcraft, which does things in a different order. But anyway. But yeah, these 2 episodes. Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
Don't think so, no.
All right. Well, in that case, thank you, everyone, for listening, and make sure to follow us on your podcast platform of choice, and go find our social media platforms and other stuff. You know the drill. We'll be back next week for some more Generation 4 with Season 1 episodes 9 and 10. And until then, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Bye, ponies.
Bye, ponies.
Shooby-doo, shoot, shooby-doo.